What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the FloGrappling show. Today we're going to be recapping the IBJJF Absolute Grand Prix, and then we're going to be talking about Polaris 36 that's going down this weekend. As always, I'm Trey Robinson. We got Joey Gilps right there, and then Big Uncle Reed is MIA. This guy came down with the flu or something, came down with a little bit of a bug. I think it's because he didn't want to give up his title.
Oh, that is exactly what happened. Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
Yeah. Won't show his face, is embarrassed about how everything went, didn't get it done in the draft, and doesn't want to own up to it.
Yep. So
he's a draft dodger.
Yeah, a little bit of a draft dodger, if you will, for a timely reference.
They really got slack.
So yeah, Joey Gilps won the Sub Hunters draft this one, retaking the throne off that. Haven't actually done the math, but I just know because all of his guys got submissions, and then not a lot of me or Reed's guys got submissions. So
I think I kind of picked, there were 7 submissions. I picked 5 of them.
Yeah.
So I feel pretty good about how I did. Can I say something that is true? This is true.
No, say something false first, and then say something true.
I'm really happy to be here. Definitely no place I'd rather be. I'd never won one of these drafts before. We were getting on Reed for not winning any of these drafts. I had accepted one of them on Slack's behalf, but I had never actually won a draft. So we had really been getting on Reed. I was just waiting to get something on the board to finally bring this up that, like, no, actually, I've been in last place.
Okay, so you were just riding the coattails of me talking crap to Reed.
Letting him somehow fail even more spectacularly.
Yeah, guys, get him.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, congratulations. Welcome.
Feels good to win.
Feels good to hoist the grand prize, right?
And you know what? Didn't do it small. Did it big my first time.
True.
Just hungry for number 2.
But let's get into the recap of the IBJJF Absolute Grand Prix. So obviously it was a sick event out there in Costa Mesa at the hangar. I guess we can just start off with talking about the big champion, the big man Flo himself. Victor Hugo ended up taking the bracket, taking home the $50,000 grand prize. And his final, a little interesting, huh? I don't think it was necessarily controversy, but it was just kind of like a wild moment that really did kind of decide the match. He hit Pedro Mourinho with the major look. Like they're super engaged in this kind of standing hand fight thing, which, if I'm being honest, there's so many matches where Pedro Mourinho is able to kind of like control that hand fight, get an advantage, and win that way. 100%. But then eventually they were both being a little coy too, So it was like Pedro was kind of doing his little spins, like doing his little like fake, like he's about to kick him or something. I don't really know, like kind of having some fun. And then Victor eventually just went like this and did the like, oh, what is that in the distance? And Pedro fully turned his back, and Victor just tackled him, which I thought was really funny. But even Victor afterwards told me, he was like, yeah, as soon as I hit the mat, I was like, oh no, what have I done? Was that not a cool move? But I think they were all both cool about it and everything. But I guess overall, what'd you think of that final?
Yeah, it was definitely I think it's a little controversial. Allowed, obviously, within the rules. The referee did never tell them to stop. We know that referee a little bit. He's always a good one to talk to. And Damien, I was trying to think of his name, Damien. He never stopped him. It was just Pedro's error, unfortunately. And when you're fighting at the highest level, you make a big error, you can lose the match. There you go. The focus dropped for a second. And there's a lot of money on the line, so I totally understand striking whenever you see the opportunity like that. It does kind of suck to see the tournament get decided on something like that.
Yeah.
Can I just why are people, like, I know Pedro Mourinho has good guard passing. I was so surprised to see Victor standing and wrestling for that long, because that, like you said, that does feel like Pedro's path to victory lies with getting, if you were to write out the best thing that could happen for Pedro in that match is to get Victor wrestling with him. He did, but Victor showed off some good takedowns and kept scoring points. I think it was like 15-2 by the end. Congratulations to him, $50K richer. Big man Flo getting it done.
$350,000 man.
$350,000 man.
Stack it up.
We got to really start chilling on this. People are going to start hitting up Victor, asking for some sweet cash.
Yeah, he said hopefully the IRS doesn't watch jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, genuinely. We love Victor. Pedro, again, showing he's one of the baddest dudes around, making it all the way to the finals. Beat Pato. First round, submitted Batista. Second round, there were some fun little matches sprinkled throughout the bracket there.
Yeah, I think so. To talk about what you were saying, because it is interesting to me that Victor didn't pull against Pedro, I kind of thought it's like, you think Victor wants to play guard anyways,
The best guard north of 220 pounds is Victor Hugo.
Yeah, I do think Pedro has really good passing, probably underrated passing, to be honest. But I think maybe there's an aspect of it where Pedro is so good tactically in these matches, you know? Like, he's so good at playing the game, scoring necessary points or advantages, and then just kind of, like, controlling enough to not get penalized and then, like, riding it out that way. I mean, it's like you guys can have whatever take you want on that style, I guess, but it's like it does win jiu-jitsu matches, and that's kind of like what Pedro does, is he like wins matches. This guy like wins a lot of matches in that way, especially in GP brackets and stuff. But the other aspect of it, he is dangerous submission hunter, which we saw against Gustavo Batista, where it's like Batista opted to pull, Pedro starts getting into passing, immediately falls back on the hook, submits him. It's like, do I think Pedro can leg lock Victor Hugo? I don't know about that. But it's like there's something about it where I guess either Victor wanted to show his wrestling or he just, you know, knew that Pedro is kind of dangerous, more underrated than people give him credit for in the passing game or just the controlling of the top game where it played out that way. But obviously Victor had an incredible performance. Shout out to him, like you already said. I thought Pedro looked great as well. Getting that quick sub, what was it like? It was like 10 seconds or something, like 14 seconds.
Against Batista?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I think it was a little longer than that. I thought it was like a minute.
Okay.
But it was
in
like
the moment.
quick. Yeah.
Oh, 20 seconds?
Oh, was it? Okay, wow, it was only 20 seconds.
I knew it was like fast, but yeah, it was like one of the first exchanges after he pulled. But in the moment, like Matt's side, it's all a flurry. Like, it's hard to remember everything. But he looked great.
By the way, we've been doing more breakdown videos. I know people have been liking the octopus one that just came out. May do a breakdown. So many more people dropping back on leg locks successfully from top position. And I think there's some reasons for that. May talk about that in the future.
Yeah, definitely. I think one example of someone who does that really well is Cole Abate, where he threatens either the leg drag or the heel hook kind of off of that, like depending on how they react to that. But we'll get into his match in a second. To talk more about the rest of the GP, I wanted to give a shout out to Marlon Tajik also. Marlon fought Victor first round, and of course Victor won and went on to win the bracket. But I did think like Marlon looked good, especially as someone as high level as Victor Hugo, an established world champion black belt. This is Marlon making his IBJJF black belt debut, and I thought I think he pulled, right? He pulled against Victor, and then I thought his guard was actually like super impressive. Like, and there was a moment where Victor almost had him passed, but he was able to like just keep throwing his leg over, kind of in that like, I guess it'd be like a backside choi bar, kind of like the opposite of a normal,
like a north-south almost. Yeah.
Where he like is able to just throw his leg up over and kind of hook it inside. And I was like, holy shit, dude! Like, is he actually going to use this to either like get a submission threat or at least like escape the position, get back standing, or get back to his guard? So I thought overall Marlon looked really good. Marlon did call me out for me and you saying Ferris won. He came up to me and he was like, whoa, look at this guy over here freaking picking against me. So I said I would say something nice about him. So I want to say this direct to the camera. Marlon Tajik is one of the most handsome grapplers competing today. You know, so if you guys just want to follow a real handsome fella, then go follow Marlon Tajik, all right? That was my nice thing I wanted to say about Marlon, but
there you go.
Everything else about him is garbage. I'm kidding. Really, really good dude. I like Marlon a lot.
I like Marlon a lot. Marlon, I'm keeping it real. That was my opinion on that match. I thought you did awesome here. I thought you've done awesome so many other times.
I told him if it went to decision against Victor, I would give him the decision.
There you go. Yeah, no, I just give my opinion. You know, it's
I have no issue lying either. So,
no, I love lying. I would love to lie. I lie as often as I possibly can.
I usually do about for 7 hours every night.
Marlon looked awesome. His guard looked incredible.
Did anybody else impress you just in the GP
Javier
as a whole?
Barter, for sure, I thought looked really good. Him coming out and really putting it on Nick Hartman. If you understand how good Nick Hartman is, you'll understand how impressive this was. Nick's a guy who I think by the time we wrap back around IBJJF No-Gi Pans, No-Gi Worlds, I think he's a guy who's going to end up on a podium at least one time for sure. He's so talented. And for Javier to come out and be able to just really put it on him, pass the guard, I think multiple times, get the submission win, that was awesome. That was really very, very impressive to me to see.
Yeah. Do you ever have do you know of any references of Javier competing in the gi? I don't know if I ever. Yeah, I haven't either. I wonder if he's exclusively no gi.
I feel like it's one of those ones that's maybe happened. Like maybe he's hopped into a bracket or two, but yeah, just almost exclusively no gi in terms of like him being successful. Like we've said, we've seen him in ADCC competition as well at trials. Would love to see him at West Coast trials.
Yeah,
that would be awesome. He could be the first Panamanian guy that I'm aware of to place at ADCC trials, potentially even win the damn thing. So yeah, I just thought he looked incredible.
Like Javier, obviously really good at jiu-jitsu, absolute beast. Whenever him and Nick Hartman took the mat, I was like, oh my God, bro, these dudes are tanks. Like Javier Barter, a few people were telling me that they've had teammates or something go against Javier, that he's like just the strongest dude in the world. And it's like, when you look at his legs and stuff, he's an absolute tank.
You believe
I'm like,
it, right?
Yeah, it's like, of course this guy is just kind of like throwing dudes by, taking their back, just kind of dominating top. Like, so I think he's an absolute beast. I think he's a dude to just keep watching. Like, I've never interacted with him like face to face personally. I don't know what he's like, on that side of it, but I do know on the mat he seems to be incredible to watch. So definitely want to keep an eye on Javier Barter, especially if he enters trials and everything. I think that'd be super sick. But I think Nick Hartman probably a little bummed in the way that shaped out, but that was just a tough match, like tough match against Javier Barter.
Black belt debuts often do not go amazing, to be perfectly honest. We still know how awesome Nick Hartman is. We've seen him compete many times. I know he probably wanted to come in there and really make a statement and put it on people. Man, this bracket was so good.
For
you
sure.
know what I mean? For a brown belt world champion coming up into this, facing almost exclusively black belt world champions throughout the bracket. Him, for Marlon, for Pixley, neither one of them was able to make it very deep. But I think the future continues to be really bright.
Yeah, I think Pixley Batista, that one was a little bit of a stinker, to be honest. It was like, just a lot of seated versus standing. Probably didn't play out a way that either guy really hoped for, but I don't know. These matches get tough whenever you get at this not just a black belt level, but an IBJJF invite tournament. It's like, every dude in there is going to be so rock solid. Like, you don't want to make any mistakes.
100%.
And sometimes that's how it plays out. But was there any other big moment or anything from the GP? Like, sitting out?
Pedro Pato's maybe the last match we haven't talked about, and that was also just a super strategic one. And that's part of the problem with being in an absolute like this is, we try to put a smaller guy like Pato in, even if he's facing a guy like Pedro Mourinho who's not 280 pounds, he's still multiple weight classes bigger and also a high level, strategically sound, technically sound athlete. So very difficult to be the smaller guy in that situation.
Yeah, I think the biggest weight discrepancies in the first round was, I think Victor Hugo Marlon was maybe like the biggest at like a 60-pound difference, but then I think Pedro Pato was still like 50 pounds difference. So even though like Pedro's not the biggest dude, he's still a big dude, like especially like weight wise. He's not incredibly tall, but he's like very like built. And then Pato's obviously the smallest guy, so it's still a big weight difference there. So that's how the GP shaped out. Victor Hugo, shout out him getting it done. I think jumping into just like big standout performances I want to talk about, the first one I kind of want to talk about is Sarah Galvão. I thought Sarah Galvão had one of the most impressive performances because obviously Sarah is still so young in her black belt career. She's been super active. She's competing a lot since getting her black belt, so it's already making her feel like
she's competed since this match.
Yeah.
She's already had more matches. She can't be more active.
Yeah, so it's kind of like it makes it feel like Sarah is this like established veteran already, even though she's like still in her rookie year at black belt. And for her to come out and like, I guess one aspect of it that I think is so impressive about Sarah is we're seeing her in so many different weight divisions. We see her in the absolute final against Gabby Pisani at Euros. She competes lightweight, wins lightweight, and now we see her do this at, I think, medium heavy, right? So it's like to go out and submit Maka in the medium heavy division is like, I just thought that was super impressive. Like, I think Sarah Galvão, like, the sky's the limit for her. I know we talk about her a lot, but it's just like, it's kind of like we're watching a pretty incredible athlete at work right now. And it's like, it's something to be grateful for as jiu-jitsu fans that we have this young star athlete kind of like blooming in front of us. So I thought her performance was super sick.
100%. Every time we see Sarah, I feel like we're seeing something a little new, a little different to her game. Here she was able to not just win, but win by submission, win in a dominant fashion against top 5, top 6 ranked medium heavy. She's only a lightweight that's going up 2 weight classes. That's incredible for her to be able to get done. I just can't be more impressed with everything we see out of Sarah Galvão. I know that she's got about as high an expectation for herself as you can have as a rookie black belt. Wants to be a super Grand Slam champion as a rookie. She's already getting that done. The first of the 5, what's the things from Avengers? The first of the 5
Infinity
Stones has already been collected at Euros. Now she just got 4 more. This is just kind of a little side quest. Got this done. Maka's incredible. Maka could win a world title this year. So for Sarah to go out there and be able to submit her, I think is really just so telling of what her ceiling is, what her potential is.
Yeah. Vitor Freitas, if you're watching right now, we need you to make the kind of AI graphic of Sarah with the like gauntlet thing with, one of the stones on it, and just keep progressing with that. I feel like that's a Vitor Freitas Communica type of post to make right there. So that we'll give you that one for free, Vitor.
The rest you're going to have to pay for.
Yeah, the rest, we're going to come to collect.
I got a lot of stupid AI ideas that we could be making. Don't worry.
True.
Don't worry.
Another impressive performance I thought was Helena Kravar. Helena kind of just doing what she does. You want to kind of talk through that match and everything? What do you thought about Helena?
Definitely. Super impressive match. Impressive because of how game Agata was. Agata came out and, she has some credentials herself in no-gi. She's a no-gi brown belt world champion for the IBJJF in 2024. But she came right at her, was putting her in deep submission trouble very early, had some super meaningful exchanges entering the legs. Helena was able to weather that storm, escape that, turn it into a Darce. It was a beautiful counter. It was one of the more exciting matches I feel like we've had here in 2026. Really back and forth, really technical, really high level. One of the few matches where the person losing, I'm actually going to increase their ranking because of how impressive they were. That really, the last time I did that was Abe and Philippe Costa, right? It doesn't really, you have to really show something.
Yeah.
I thought Agata was awesome in this match. Helena obviously is a machine, 13-match win streak, all by submission. Couldn't be more impressed.
Definitely.
Not all by, I think 12 by submission. The last 13 matches she's had, she's won by submission. I think the win streak extends even further.
Gotcha. Yeah, so super impressive performance by not just Helena, but Agatha as well. And then I want to talk about Cole Abate and Will Wilson. This match for me, like being there in person, this was one of the most intense matches watching Matt's side. And like I think there's a distinction between whenever you're like watching a mat live, like in person, and like watching it on a stream, because it's like when you're watching the stream, it doesn't always capture the intensity and like the ambiance of the moment. But this one felt like big for some reason there live. Like it's like both guys come out, and I'm kind of like I feel myself tightening up a little bit. Like I'm like, oh shit, okay, how's this gonna go?
Really got to get this angle.
Yeah,
gotta
get the shot by any means necessary. And like I thought live, that's just how it played out. Like it was like both guys super, like super intense, super focused.
It felt like there was a lot on the line.
Yeah, and there was, but also there wasn't. It's like I don't know why it felt like that, but it did seem like that. Obviously, Cole's kind of going up to lightweight for this, where we've been seeing him compete at featherweight at IBJJF and everything. Will Wilson was able to beat Mateo Cardona at IBJJF Euros at lightweight, and then Cole kind of bounced up, got one back for his boy, got the win there, played a super good game. Obviously, kind of, I thought controlled a lot of exchanges, but I did also think Will Wilson looked super impressive. So for me, this was one where both guys like definitely kind of just raised their stock. It made me think about the prospect of seeing Cole more at lightweight. Like I'm kind of like I don't know, I don't know if it like. I don't know. I haven't decided yet if I'm like, that would be sick to keep seeing Cole at lightweight or to keep seeing him at featherweight. Do you have any thoughts on that? Like Cole bouncing around kind of between these two divisions or anything?
Cole is definitely one of those guys who, when we see him at these major tournaments, when I saw him at Euros, when we see him, I feel like he's one of those guys where you especially notice how thin he is on day one.
Yeah.
And how sucked out he is to have some of those early matches. And he's far from the only guy, especially down at some of those lower weights. You see some of these guys getting real crazy with it. So anytime he can move up to light, I'm always interested by that. I feel like we've seen some of his better performances at light. I know for this last IBJJF season, he went from feather to light. He looked incredible. So I thought that was awesome. I really, watching from home, like you said, you had the experience of being able to watch live. Watching from home, I just kept waiting for that one distinctive moment, but it was just Cole just getting a little bit ahead in the match and just being able to edge it. And that speaks, obviously, we know how incredible Cole is. That speaks to how incredible Will is, for a guy who went 1-1 in Brown Belt Worlds last year to turn it around and now be a world-class lightweight. There's a real chance that we just watched the 2026 featherweight and lightweight world champions face off in that match.
Very true.
And we're going to look back at that match and realize, actually, this was even more monumental than we realized in the moment. These are two guys who were operating on a super high level. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wish casting. But it did kind of have that sense and that air of grandiosity of like, okay, nothing, there's not a major title on the line, but there's a lot on the line.
Yeah, definitely. And so, like, one thing I guess I wanted to talk about, maybe even ask you about, because one thing Cole kept doing.
Otherwise, you're just talking to yourself, so I would hope.
Yeah. No, I'm talking to all the boys at home watching right now. What's up, fellas?
Maybe I'll even include you at some point in
fellas?
this.
No. During the match, Cole was doing a lot of where he would kind of throw his outside leg around, almost into a reap position. And this is something I feel like Tynan does a lot. And a lot of the AOJs kind of do a lot. And I even feel like maybe it's potentially what led to Tynan getting DQ'd at, it would have been 2024 Worlds, right, against Francisco Lowe. And it seemed like Cole was doing that position a lot, where he was then able to knock Will like back on his butt, using it and stuff, kind of rack up the advantages that way. And now, self-admittedly, this is where my technical knowledge of the nuance of some of these positions starts capping out. And I can speak misinformed about it if you guys want me to, but I'd prefer not to. I like letting kind of, you know, the athletes explain a lot of this stuff. But
Which I am not one.
Yeah. So I thought, I just thought that was interesting, and I think it's interesting how willing a lot of these AOJ guys are to play kind of like to toe that line of this position where it does seem like you're so close to being able to get DQ'd, but whenever you're obviously as good as someone like Tynan, you're as good as someone like Cole, and then you have Guy Mendez in your corner who, like, I would assume knows the rules better than, like, almost anyone on
Down to
earth.
his DNA.
Yeah,
100%.
it's like they clearly see something there where they like think this is a good position to be playing, but it just feels scary, right? Like, I don't know. It's just like there were a couple times where I was like, I don't know, are we getting close here to like Cole better not mess up, right? And like, or even like, you know, I'm not saying Will Wilson would do this. I don't think he would, but like some guys will kind of like just push the foot in to like, and then kind of like look at the ref like, I don't know. It's like, but I don't know. I just think that's a little bit of an interesting technique that we keep seeing out of these guys.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you that a lot of these guys, it feels like at the black belt level especially, I feel like when I look at the color belts, I really don't see it, and I think that's very interesting as well. They really ride the line with where they place the foot in the single leg X especially, and Tynan's was a little bit of a different situation at Worlds in 2024, but like, you know, John Ainia an hour before that got DQ'd for a very similar position. In the reap rules, I know are different if the person has their foot down on the mat versus like if you're like seated in a double sit and a double pull. The reap rules are a little bit different. There's other athletes that really ride the line. I'm not going to name names we haven't brought up yet, but there are a couple out there where it's like, man, I just can't believe this person hasn't been DQ'd like once or twice for this kind of stuff. Athletes are going to continue to push the line, and it's going to be up to referees to continue to enforce it. The way I've heard it put and the way I like to think about it, a dog's going to run to the end of the leash, right? And it's up to you to kind of set how far do you want that leash to be, because if they start DQing everybody at a certain point, by the time we show up to Worlds next year, I promise you all the smart athletes are going to have internalized the change.
Yeah. And it's like the ref is responsible for like enforcing like obviously an illegal move and DQing, and it's also he's responsible for allowing a legal application of like a somewhat close technique to play out, which is what I think AOJ is kind of getting really good at, is like making sure it's like, no, this is not illegal. You know, it's like this is just an effective technique that like, I don't know, is like it like works well in that scenario. But
I agree. I also think it's important to point out these referees. I think once upon a time there was the belief that some of the refs didn't understand some of the leg entanglements as well as they needed to referee those positions.
Everything's kind of like caught up.
I think they know them well by now. These are very professional referees who spend a lot of time studying. They're all black belts, especially when you get into these pro events and high-level majors. They're all very experienced black belts.
This event was also reffed out the wazoo, to be honest. Like, I don't know if you could see on the stream, but there was the main judge, then there was the corner judges seated, and then there was a table with two guys watching like the stream to like also call out techniques, and like that's where you get the like talking to in the earpiece, you know. So I was like, man, these boys ain't missing a thing, dude. They are locked in.
That's kind of where I'm at. So yeah, if all those guys all working together, all with a way superior understanding of the rules, you know, if they're all cool with it, then it should be cool. I thought, man, you know, at one point I thought a double DQ for not stalling, and stalling isn't the right word, but just lack of progression might have been on the table, because they were doing such a good job of locking each other up, and it was like 3 calls each with like 3 minutes left. I was like, man, you know, are we gonna, you know, that's where it really starts to get me nervous when you have 3 calls with 3 minutes left for lack of action. And those guys were able to keep it going. I thought the last 30 seconds they really sprinted, and Cole really tried to put a stamp on it, and was able to get it done. Like I said, just two super high-level elite guys
for sure
who could both win world titles this year.
Yeah, the other technique aspect I want to point out is just like how good Cole's K-guard is. Like he's just Cole Abate's K-guard is insane right now. I think if you're trying to get into K-guard, then Cole's definitely a guy to watch. I also know he dropped or maybe it was already available, but I saw him promoting it, like his K-guard masterclass on AOJ Plus. Like I think that is probably a great resource if you like messing around with K-guard. I know sometimes like I just get into K-guard and then I kind of like figure it out. Call me CLA if you want, you know what I'm saying, brother? Just getting into that K-guard and seeing what daddy can do from there. But that's probably not the smartest way if you have lack of knowledge like me. So I would go watch Cole's K-guard because it is super impressive. But the other
my game's real CLA. Catching L's always.
Yeah, let's go, baby. Then this is less about the jiu-jitsu, but something I think is worth talking about.
Oh, no.
Mr. Wilson.
Oh.
Mr. Wilson, dude. This guy is bringing in some lore to the Will Wilson world of grappling. You know,
it's all good flavor.
Yeah. No, we got hit the Will Wilson because of Euros, and now I'm like real interested in keeping watching Will Wilson, seeing what he's all about. And
Hawaii's favorite son.
Yeah, and so we saw that video of him running around, and I was like, damn, this dude's crazy. And I get to the event and I like see Will and I'm like, yo, what's up, Will? I'm Trey. Nice to meet you. Like, it's cool to meet you in person, all this, And I believe they listen to the podcast sometimes, so be careful what you say next. But I'm just kidding. Only good things to say. But he's like, dude, you got to meet my dad. And I was like, I started shaking in my boots. Yeah. I was like, me?
I don't know if I'm ready on that one, Will.
Who? Me? I don't know if I want to meet Mr. Wilson. I'm scared of this guy. But he tried to go.
Can I check my T levels first, Will?
Yeah. He tried to go find his dad, which I was like, Will, you didn't have to do that. You're getting ready for a major match. You don't need to go look for your dad.
Yeah.
But Will is super cool guy, super nice. And he tried to go find him, couldn't find him, and he was like, don't worry about it though. You'll know who my dad is once the match starts. And so they call out Will Wilson, and I just hear this like mix between a howl and a bark, and he's just like, and it's just like the whole arena.
There's an echo on it,
yes,
right? Yeah.
It's just like bouncing around the arena, and I was like, I think that might be Mr. Wilson.
I feel like we have located. Yeah.
I believe I've found Mr. Wilson. And then as the match kept going on, you even sent a message, and you were like, I think he has an air horn. And I was like, nah, brother, that's man-made.
Turns out, yeah.
Dude, he started hitting the foghorn on him, and he was just doing the mouth foghorn, going nuts. I was like, dude, this guy is incredible. I'm a huge fan of Mr. Wilson. So I'm going to say this. Hey, Will, you and your dad are competing for my current favorite of the Wilson family. I haven't met your mom, or I don't know if you have other siblings. I want to meet them too, because I think this family might be one of the most interesting families in jiu-jitsu right now.
But the rankings can change at any time.
Yeah, the rankings can change at any time. It's a very
very
tight race. Yeah. So one good appearance either from Will on the mats or Mr. Wilson from the crowd, and that can shift right away. But yeah, dude, I
have a feeling right before Will's gonna be walking out for a black belt world final, and Mr. Wilson's gonna hit the perfect frequency.
Yes.
Holler, and it's gonna just supercharge Will to Super Saiyan 3, and he's gonna go out there and smoke the guy. You know what I mean?
For sure.
It's too ingrained. Yeah. It's already been written. The prophecy's coming. We just have to be there for it.
Definitely. Mr. Wilson is about it. He's about that life. He's getting rowdy out there for his boy. I love to see it. So I don't know. I want to hang out with these guys, but I don't know if I can hang, to be honest. I gotta get my pull-ups up.
By the way,
you know what? I'm gonna commit to working on my pull-ups and my push-ups. So if I hang with you guys, I can bang them out if it calls for it.
It very much seems like Will might be the second most fit member of his family,
I
haven't met anyone else in his family, so he might be 2 out of 2.
Imagine he has a really big family. We need to talk to Will more and figure this out. He might have 5 brothers and 3 sisters, and they're all he's the
and
runt.
He might be on bottom, in terms of athleticism. And he's some of the stuff they're putting out, and it is really cool. We see so often how often jiu-jitsu can bring fathers and sons together, especially, but any parental combination there. But always such a cool thing when you see the dad in the workout.
For sure.
And like not just in it, but like really going after it and like kind of setting the pace on some of it. That's an awesome thing. And yeah, we've talked to, Marine family and
I think
always getting after it.
Yeah, I think it's like to I guess just go back to like almost even a hobbyist perspective on jiu-jitsu stuff. I feel like so many people wonder like, oh, how can I get my kid to like want to do jiu-jitsu? Like I love jiu-jitsu so much. Like how can I get my kid to do it? And really, I don't have a kid. I have a dog that I consider my kid, but she doesn't really like jiu-jitsu. She does dominate at the dog park, though. She'll play guard. She'll pass. Doesn't matter. Shout out Kona. She absolutely owns. We have this one guy, Ollie. He's on the marketing team. He has his dog, Penny. Kona would absolutely destroy Penny.
No,
you want to?
Not true. Penny dog walks Kona every day.
It's just not true, and we're gonna cut that from the podcast, and it's not true.
Wait, but you dog walk your dog, so by transitive property, you dog walk Kona? Yes. That's what he's saying about Kona.
I'm cutting all of this. No one is going to see this on the show. And honestly, that was incredibly disrespectful for him to come on our show like that and just say something mean. But anyways,
mean and untrue.
Yeah, back to the parental thing. It's just like, I think like obviously parents want their kids to be interested in what they're interested in, but it's obviously seems to be a very hard thing to do, especially trying to get a kid into jiu-jitsu. And it's like, do you want to force this kid to do this? Are they going to get burned out? Maybe they're just not into it. Maybe they want to play football and just take dudes' heads off, But whenever you're like Mr. Wilson and Will is, and even like Jeremy Abate and Cole is a
that
good
was actually
example.
the also
It's like we kind of have a great matchup of just like good father-son combos, it feels like, in these two, where it's like they're in the workouts with their kids, It's like, it's not like they're like forcing their kid. This is, I don't know, to point this out, this is something I always thought was interesting. Even when we go to train and stuff, like we go train and the kids class is getting done right before like the adult class starts. And there's so many parents out there who are just there to like pick up their kid that I've never seen train before. And I always think that's so interesting because it's like, obviously you see the value in jiu-jitsu. You see the value in like your kid doing a martial art, in like, committing to this thing, but it's like you're not doing it. That's so weird to me. Like I just feel like if you're a parent and you're like, oh, my kid's gonna train because I know it's good for them, why would you also not just train? Because it's like it's a good thing to do. So I think that's it's like a weird dynamic that never made sense. But I think it's like when you're kind of like Jeremy Abate or you're Mr. Wilson and you're kind of like leading from the front, and then it's just like now your kid just kind of wants to, they want to do what you do.
They want to be a part of your life.
Yeah, it's like they want to like do what their hero does in a way where it's like a cool thing to see for sure, where he's like running alongside Will, it's like they're preparing for the world championship together. 100%. And I think that is a good combo of like, you want your kid to do jiu-jitsu, it's like, well, you got to be doing it too, It's like you got to like set the example and then eventually hope that they're going to become a part of it kind of on their own will just because they see you doing it. But I guess that's a little bit of my take on parenting as a guy without any kids. We got Slack who has a kid behind the camera and he's like, man, you don't know what the freak you're talking about. But no, I'm just kidding. So I don't know.
Yeah, I was a kid's
You don't got any kids either, huh?
I was a kids coach for many years, and I never answered that question directly at work. I was a kids coach for many years. Yeah, I saw so many great examples of people who could train as hobbyists and train, at whatever speed they wanted to, and then also their kid could train at whatever speed they wanted to, and it was still something they could share. I don't want anybody to come away from this thing, oh, well, if I want my kid to be a black belt world champion, I got to be a freaking, in the gym every day. Mm-hmm. That's also not true, but like the more you can share it and the more that, you can make it a thing that you do together, the family that trains together stays together, right? It's just more likely you're all going to keep making it part of your lives together, making it a thing that you guys all come back to. And I've seen that be a really wonderful thing for a lot of people.
Yeah, I guess one more anecdote on this thing is Adam Wardzinski was in town over the week, and I was talking to him about his son, Jan, who is one of my best friends in the whole world. I love Jan.
Sleepiest boy in the world.
Yeah, haven't seen him in a while. Yeah, Jan, good one. But haven't seen him in a while, but I need to go see Jan. I miss him. But Adam was here, and he was telling me about how Jan is training now. I think he's like 4 years old or so, somewhere around there. And obviously, I don't think Adam wanted to like force him into it, but of course, how do you not want your son to like train whenever that's kind of your whole life and everything? And he said like I think Adam is like an unofficial assistant coach now for the kids class at Hybrid, which is really funny to think about. Like Adam Wardzinski's like a kids coach, but it's mainly because like Jan wanted him to like stay around and be there. But he said that Jan has started like wanting to stay for Adam's class and like get to watch his dad do it and stuff. And it's like, dang, that's a cool thing that, you know, it's like he's not forcing Jan to do it, but he's just like naturally kind of be like, well, I did all this training. Now I want to see how dad does it. And then I think like he'll roll with Jan or something at the end. And it's like, that's a pretty cool thing.
That's also such a different calculation, Slack. I'm sure you'll appreciate this. That's such a different calculation when you're Adam Wardzinski and your son wants to watch you do jiu-jitsu and watch you in class versus like if little Slack Jr. wants to come watch Slack do jiu-jitsu, it's like,
close your eyes, son. Close your eyes.
how many blue belts do I get to roll with today? You know, just like, okay, but it's like, this guy going to ask me to train? Is that guy going to ask me to train?
When you're not Adam Wardzinski, there's a lot of close your eyes, son. I don't want you to see daddy like this.
You could just go
I don't want you to see daddy like this.
You could just
not
be on
like
the iPad
this.
for this round. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Here we go. Here's 14 screens. Enjoy that.
Just for this next 7 minutes while I'm rolling with this one guy, while I'm rolling Nick.
Yeah.
You can, yeah.
All right. So any other big things from, I guess, like, I guess one thing I want to say is, obviously, I'm a huge fan of JP Tran. I'm still committed to watching every JP Tran match.
I've heard of it.
Yep. Yeah. Got to meet him in person. Cool guy. That JP Tran, he's a cool guy. All right. Simple as that. But then someone was kind of commenting on the post afterwards. Someone made a joke like, oh, Trey's going to be devastated. JP lost. And someone commented and said, like, maybe you should be watching every Asif Alves match. And I just want to point out that it's like, I know a lot of jiu-jitsu guys and like watch a lot of jiu-jitsu. I can't watch every single person all the time, and especially when it comes to the youth competitors. I committed to watching every JP Tran match because last year during the Juvenile Grappler of the Year Awards, people said like, why didn't you guys do this or that about JP Tran? So I was like, okay, if I was uninformed, I'm going to try and get informed by watching JP Tran. I can't know every single juvenile out there. And Asaf Alves, obviously a beast. Obviously a juvenile worth watching, but this is the way that you learn new athletes. You have an athlete that you are committed to watching to, someone you know is worth watching, and then someone comes along, competes against them, doesn't even always beat them. But it's like,
looks good.
Yes, but looks good, and it's like, okay, now I'm hip to a new person. So now I am hip to Asaf Alves, you know? And I think I wanted to say that Marcio Andre's school, I thought, had incredible performances throughout. All of their students looked great. Asaf is a Marcio student. Yasmin Castro looked great. You know, a bunch of great performances there. But the reality is that it's like, I do know Asaf now, so you guys don't have to like be upset at me in the comments.
Mission accomplished.
But it's like, yeah, this is how it works. Like, this is how the game works. I get if you guys are training with Asaf, or you're his parents or his family, or like, you know, you just saw him already compete against someone you know and now you know him. That's the route of finding people, and that's naturally how this works. So it's like, yes, I will be watching Asaf Alves, and you know, I don't know. I just wanted to point that out. I feel like a lot of people like to do the like, oh, you didn't blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, you know, there's a natural order to how
somebody
this works.
won a match that you hadn't seen do jiu-jitsu before, huh, Trent?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Like you said, system works. You know, we were all hip to JP Tran, who's had great success. And actually, they had a rematch.
They did
that weekend, and JP got that one back, got him in the Absolute.
These dudes are crazy. They fight at the IBJJF Grand Prix, and then 2 days later, they're fighting in the
Sarah was too.
Orange County Open.
Yeah, all these people.
Yeah.
All these people are super savages and so impressive and staying so busy. JP, I know, has a lot coming up on the horizon that we're super excited about. Asif, like you mentioned, got the win here.
I'll be watching now, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So some of the stuff, like they pointed out, his counter to the cross pants crazy dog pass was nuts. That cage.
The cage, the MA cage. I kept seeing Marcio afterwards. He was posting all the examples of his students doing this MA cage. That shit's pretty cool.
I was playing around with it a little bit after class last night. There's something to this. I got to see what Marcio's
like,
teaching about this.
I guess to just give like a rough breakdown of it, far end of the bell curve, you know, the bad end. It's just like, it's kind of like a almost false reapish positioning with like,
it's very Barada Plata. It's like similar-ish to a Barada Plata, but also false reapish.
Gotcha. Yeah. And then you're able to use that to kind of just like rotate through the position, right? And then come back into your guard. So it's almost like you just like build this like structural cage in this like Barada Plata, false reapish type of, I guess, structure, and then you kind of invert through it and around back into guard, right?
Yeah, basically.
From what I can see from it. Do you know any, like, and like I said, maybe you haven't actually looked this deep into it yet or anything. Is there like offensive attacks and stuff from it, or
I think there's a triangle if you can invert all the way through onto it.
almost like the Fabricio Andre triangle?
Yes.
Okay.
And the 360 no scope that John Blanc hit at
Yep.
trials. Great name for it. And a few other things. But yeah, I'm still in super early, looks, trying to figure out all these little details. Going to need Marcio to come in and explain a few things on that. And yeah, like you said, Marcio Andre's school just is building. So many young beasts in that school. Luis Victor, I know, took double gold over the weekend in an open. He's super tough. He was in the finals at Euros, rookie black belt. Tarcisio Santos, I think, is a contender to win Worlds this year at lightweight. Rookie black belt, super impressive. So many color belt killers with the Nascimento siblings, Terry Felipe, Asif Alves, like we mentioned. I could keep naming people here. Yasmin Castro was in getting some work in this weekend. She's super talented. A lot of talented people. Marcio's building something really cool out there in Phoenix, Arizona. People need to pay attention.
For sure. Yeah, no, I think that's one we got to hit on Road to Worlds this year. If we end up doing like the road trip thing again, or I'm not sure how we're going to do Road to Worlds necessarily yet, but it feels like it would make sense to kind of stop through Marcio Andre's school. But just because Yasmin looked great, but also Ashley Funegra looked great. Like,
yeah, of course.
Ashley Funegra is like another. She's like right there
The
with Sarah
littlest
Galval.
juggernaut that we got. Yeah.
It's like she's one of those like just stars now. It's like just watching her, and it's just like, wow, these Funegra girls are so good. We also saw Natalie on this card. They're just so good, like so fun to watch. Like just a great thing for jiu-jitsu, especially on the women's side of jiu-jitsu as well. Like the Funegra girls, the Sarah Galval, kind of some of the newer, younger generation keep like pushing the sport forward in that way. So shout out them as well. But what should we talk about now? Should we get into Polaris?
Let's get into Polaris.
Let's get into Polaris. So we have Polaris 36 going down. What day specifically is it? It's March
Saturday.
7th. Yes, Saturday, March 7th. I think it should start
8:30 a.m. Central Time. 8:30 a.m. Central Time, going down from Croydon, which is in London.
Nice.
Three
you got like a London accent in your bag or a British accent?
Not one that I want to put out there for everybody.
Not one to live in infamy on the internet forever.
And I've done some stupid stuff on this show, so that should really tell you what territory we're walking through right now. 3 title fights, Kendall Rusing versus Annabelle, Gianni versus Owen, and Shai Garana, who won a qualifier bracket, is going to take on Ethan Krellinston. Solid mix of super matches. There's no squads event this time. This one's more like a WNO.
Yeah, straight up super fight show.
And going to be some awesome action, man. There's a reason that Polaris has the reputation of being the best super fight show in the UK, in Europe. And it's because they put on awesome events every single time. If you tune in this weekend, you're going to have an awesome time.
Yeah, it should be a sick show. I guess just to go into like the main event, right? Because the way they did this main event, it's Ethan Krellinston, the current belt holder. What do you know what weight it is?
155.
155. Okay, so lightweight title, Ethan Krellinston, who I think has had pretty good success on Polaris. Like I think he's been pretty dominant.
I think so too. I think he's crushed Polaris. I think he's been a really long reigning champion for them.
Yeah, and so Shai Garana won a contenders bracket to earn his shot to take on Ethan Krellinston at this event, which is a pretty cool way to do it. You know, it's like we did this with WNO 30 to get into the bracket that we were holding, the absolute bracket, and so now Polaris did it this way, which I think is pretty sick. You know, giving someone like a bid like that where they earn their shot is cool. I think Ethan Krellinston got to be the favorite for this for sure.
Pretty hefty favorite still. Yeah, 100%.
I'm definitely excited. I don't know if has Ethan competed much since?
Not since CJI.
Okay, yeah, I didn't think so. So it's always cool whenever Ethan's competing. Definitely excited to watch him, and you know, just excited to see like kind of what type of stuff he's doing now. It's like anytime these guys who are kind of at this upper echelon of the sport haven't competed in a while, I'm always just curious, like, are they just going to go back to the stuff we know they can do, that they're pretty dominant with? Has Ethan been working on certain things that he's going to showcase? You know, it's like there's a lot of potential for like cool new technique to emerge from these situations, which I kind of think maybe could happen in this match.
100%. Ethan, one of the most prolific hunters of the back, finishers from the back that we have in the sport. Simple man martial arts his own. Ethan Krellinston, always so impressive to watch, always somebody who's been able to pick up a ton of big wins. People need to understand Shai is very good. Shai has had a lot of success. Shai was very successful, for example, European trials, where he made it all the way to the quarterfinals before he lost a very narrow decision to Nico, who would go on to win the whole thing. I believe that based off of everything, that was Nico's closest match. So Shea was definitely one of the best guys in that bracket. Now he walks into here, ton of momentum, was able to beat most of the guys in that qualifier bracket by submission. He is a really underrated Belgian guy. Only a brown belt, still coming up in the world, so still improving a lot. Training under Wim de Pooter. People might not be that familiar with Wim, but Wim has some crazy training methods and technological insights, technique insights out there. I know that he had a bunch of people doing really well at this last trials as well, including this Estonian woman whose name I forget off the top of my head, Lisi Vatt, who placed third. So definitely a gym that's coming up in the world. Excited to see how he can do. Going to be a fun one.
Yeah, and so we have a few kind of big matches to, I guess, talk through. But one that I want to talk about, just because this is a personal interest match. This is one where I like both guys. I think both guys are super sick to watch, and I think they both do cool stuff. But it's PJ Barch against Shane Fishman. So Shane Fishman is a Canadian grappler, but I think he spends a lot of time in Europe. I've seen him at London Grapple before and stuff. But he specifically is the move, the fishnet, is named after Shane Fishman, and I love the fishnet. I'm always trying to play fishnet in training. It's not always the easiest thing to get into. It's kind of like a lockdown where then you like get the leg across your body, and you're just kind of like, it's almost like if you get into the fishnet, it's pretty much a guaranteed sweep.
Gotta sweep him.
But Shane can do a lot of really cool stuff from the fishnet. He can take the back off of it using, the way I've watched some of his videos before, he uses like a lapel grip in the gi to get into the fishnet, and then he's able to like kind of like block off one side where they can't turn back into you using a lapel grip, and then he takes the back from there. And I just think it's a super sick thing to do. In training, I love whenever I'm getting close to a fishnet, giving my opponent a fishnet warning. I go ahead and let them know. It's like, hey, I'm closing in on the fishnet. There's a fishnet warning. And then you kind of escalate the threat level, you know, and it's like, all right, fishnet imminent. The fishnet is imminent. And then boom, fishnet engage, full warning system. And then you sweep them. That's a little fun little thing I like to do. But I love watching Shane. I think his technique's super cool. And then PJ Barch. Everybody knows how sick PJ Barch is.
Everybody loves PJ. I know PJ got clowned on a little bit recently for entering that AACC Open, but I mean everybody still knows PJ is one of the best in the world. He's there kind of messing around. Got caught in a little shootout, being playful, being a little playful guy. This is
the P in PJ stands for playful.
There you go. This one not going to be such a playful guy coming in. Always super professional, always super prepared. And I think that we're probably going to see one of the best versions of him, right? PJ's a guy who I'm always excited to see a little bit more often. I'm excited to see the technical innovations that he does, super CLA focused at this point. Love watching PJ fight, right? And I think Shane, with a different kind of guard for PJ to play around with, these guys are going to bring out the best in each other.
Yeah, I think for me, this one, if on the slobber knocker scale, it might be tipping the scales for me a little bit on. I think this one's a potential slobber knocker. I think this match could be cool. I don't know if it's going to be.
This one has us drooling.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be. It might not be like the craziest, like Andrew Takakade Ruotolo dudes are flying around and dynamic and stuff. But I just think it's going to we're going to see some really cool jiu-jitsu between Shane and PJ. So I'm excited for that one.
I would love to see what would happen if PJ ended up in a fishnet. Because
I know. That's what I guess excites me about it, where it's like I do think PJ is going to have something for it, you know, whether it's like somehow some crazy counter leg lock or some like wild thing. Like I feel like he could. That's why it kind of excites me, you know.
I agree. If anybody does, it's probably PJ, right? You know, he's working with a bunch of really intelligent coaches. He's a really intelligent coach. If he's able to, if it's out there to be figured out, I think PJ is one of the guys to do it.
Yeah. All right, and another big match, Owen Jones versus Gianni Grippo. Now, we know how one commenter feels about this. He's going to comment 4 times, and he's going to say
from various accounts.
He's going to say the same thing pretty much each time. How do you feel about this match?
I actually am pretty excited about this match. Both these guys are such quality opponents. I feel like they've chirped at each other before. And were we supposed to have this match on WNO?
Yeah, this is a match that's been supposed to happen a couple times at least, and it's always ended up escaping. Like I think it was Owen who couldn't make it the last time.
Visa issues were an issue, right?
Something like that.
And so finally able to make this happen on Owen's home turf. It's a home game for Owen Jones, it looks like, back there in the UK, not Atlanta. not at Magic City, not a Magic City special for Owen Jones. He is
the true home game.
The true home game. Yeah, if you want him to get any power-up bonus anywhere, put it in the parking lot of Magic City. Owen is great submission hunter, great guard, great when he catches onto things. Gianni, maybe a little bit more of a positional game, kind of tries to pressure his way through the guard with some of the more intricate no-gi type passing that I feel like you see. His leg drags and his smashes are really, really powerful. Just saw him place at the World Championships at the black belt level. That was super impressive. This might be Owen's black belt debut match, by the way.
Oh, yeah, because he got his black belt finally, yeah.
So there you go.
Okay.
Black belt debut here for Owen Jones. Going to be excited to see that one. Know the crowd's going to be going nuts for it both ways. Know the comment section is going to be going nuts in at least one very specific way. Let's see how these guys shape up on Saturday. It's a 50-50 match. There's people who are trying to tell you they know how this match is going to play out. They're lying.
Yeah.
They're lying.
Don't believe them, dude. Trust no one. Then another big match, Kendall Rusing versus Annabelle Lopez Beard. This is for the open weight title. Really?
I'm really excited.
What gets you amped up about it?
I think this match, it gets me. I'm very excited to see how Annabelle does specifically, because I feel like Annabelle has been very impressive, but I feel like she's been very impressive without facing like a top 3, top 4 type of opponent. Somebody who's been able to win a black belt world title like Kendall, somebody who's been able to place at the ADCC World Championships like Kendall has been able to do. I think that there's also a chance for Kendall to reestablish she is one of the best in the world, right? Mm-hmm. She's somebody who takes long stretches of time off. Sometimes that's injury related, and that's always very unfortunate. Sometimes it's her just picking her spots. That's okay. That's understandable. But I always get the feeling that she's just right around the best in the world, but is never able to finally put herself over that and stamp it that she is the dominant number one force. She's always just kind of stuck in that pecking order up there where it's a little bit hard to tell. I think whoever wins is going to make an enormous statement, especially an enormous statement right before ADCC. Mm-hmm. I think whoever wins this match, I think, is announcing that they're going to be a huge factor and one of the favorites at ADCC. If Annabelle can win this, she can win ADCC.
Yeah, and so this is Kendall's return match since 2024, right? I don't think she did she compete at all in 2025?
She did Nogi Worlds, I think, in 2024 as well.
Okay.
But I don't think she competed in 2025. She was supposed to do Nogi Worlds, but then she didn't. She might have done Nogi Worlds in 2023.
Gotcha.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But it's been a long time off.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And it's like, do you know from that video Michelle did? She didn't compete at all in 2025? Yeah, so she was away from competition all of 25, which is obviously a huge deal for a competitor. Like you said, kind of, it's like, can be different reasons, you know. I think also Kendall just like leans in. She'd been leaning into a lot of the media stuff as well.
That's what it is. I think it's a lot more. It's like her just picking her spot.
Yeah, just kind of like establishing herself more as like a media presence as well, doing commentary, a lot of stuff like that. But you have to assume that she's probably pretty amped up, wanting to make a big statement in her return back. But she has a pretty game opponent in Annabelle here. Another big match is Sarah Galvao versus Libby Ginge, right, in the bantamweight division. These are all Nogi, by the way. I don't know if these are all Nogi matches.
Yeah, but we do not know 100% how to say Libby's last name. I'm guessing that you also are not 100% sure.
No, I'm not.
It's Libby versus Sarah. Libby actually got world ranked there for a second at 135 pounds. She had a great Nogi Pans, I think it might have been, or Nogi Euros, where she beat some really tough people. And she is definitely one of the better Nogi up-and-comers in the UK. And what do you do when you have one of the best Nogi up-and-comers on the continent? Put him against one of the best in the world. Yeah. Let's see what happens, right? Honestly.
Sure.
And Sarah has signed a Polaris contract. I believe this is her first time on Polaris. We've already talked about how she's one of the shining stars of the sport right now. It's always so impressive to see her out there. And there's going to be a chance to see her in a new context, a new little format in the UK. Excited to see this, her and Libby.
Definitely. And then the final super fight on the main card is going to see Ross Nichols and Sam Gibsons, a couple OGs in the UK scene. Ross Nichols, an ADCC veteran, been holding it down on the UK scene for a long time. Trains out of London Grapple. I believe Sam Gibson is out of Arma. That's the gym that Fionn Davis is the head coach at, kind of that new really sick looking gym. Like,
It does look amazing. Yeah.
It looks like an equinox for jiu-jitsu, like super sick looking. But so I think that's a pretty cool couple OG UK guys throwing it down. But overall, I think it's going to be a sick card. Like I said, March 7th.
Big prelim card available live on YouTube as well.
David Cartwright's competing on the prelim. That's Owen's coach who gave him his black belt. So that's one of my prelim ones I've marked. I'm excited to watch to see David Cartwright compete on there. But yeah, March 7th, it starts at 8:30 Central Time, right? Is what it was?
Yep.
8:30 Central Time, which, if you ask me, that's a great time for a jiu-jitsu card. I love waking up like on a Saturday morning and just immediately knowing that I can just turn on FloGrappling and start watching some jiu-jitsu right away.
It's like being a little kid with your cartoons.
Yeah, exactly.
Straight up.
Yeah, this is an adult jiu-jitsu guy cartoon, Saturday morning cartoon. Just get you a little coffee, freaking whatever supplements you like to enjoy with your coffee, and then start watching some jiu-jitsu on FloGrappling,
However you enjoy
I like
your weekend.
creatine, but whatever you boys are taking, you know what I'm saying? Wink, wink. But I'm stoked for it.
I'm pumped. I got my lighter. I got my spoon. I can't wait.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that pretty much wraps it up for us here. We have some big W&O stuff coming out as well. So we're about to announce the second member of the youth bracket.
We're doing that. Are we doing that today?
Yeah, we'll post it today.
You want to just say it today?
Yeah,
then?
so it's like the first one we announced is, what was the first one we announced? Jay Ortiz. We announced Jay Ortiz for this 145-pound youth bracket, and today we're announcing JP Tran. All right?
Oh, snap.
And listen, I'll say this. The JP in JP Tran stands for he was just playing before, but he ain't no more. All right? So this one's getting down to brass tacks.
We are making him go by AB Tran on this one because he's all business.
Okay, yeah.
He's gone from just playing Tran to all business Tran.
So we got AB Tran. He'll be announced today. And then a couple more big names coming for this bracket.
This is going to be the best team bracket in the history of jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
I'm willing to put my name on that.
All right.
We got the 4 guys that we wanted. Super exciting. All been proven against high-level elite opposition. All 4 of these guys have future black belt, ADCC world champion written all over them. One-night bracket. We have the right rule set. We have the right guys. This is going to be the best team bracket of all time.
Yeah, so super sick. Keep your eye out for more of those announcements coming. But I think that's all we got for you guys today. Thank you for tuning in and watching, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.